Going to bed early is something you always seem to do as a kid. When I was young, my mum always made sure that I'd go to bed at 8:30 p.m. so I'd get a good night's sleep. But before you know it, you're about like 18 years old, 19, 20, and you're staying up very, very late, scrolling Instagram reels and TikToks. You'll be up till like 2 in the morning and just, you don't even realize the time's been passing by and you realize that you've been up for so long. When you get older, you tend to relax the boundaries. 8:30 is a good bedtime for young people, but as you get older, you sort of start to go to bed a bit later. So you'll go at about 8:30 will turn to 9 o'clock, then 9 o'clock turns into 10:30, and then it just repeats over and over. And before you know it, yeah, you're staying up to 2 in the morning and you haven't gotten any sleep and you're scattered the next day. Yeah, for work, especially if you have to get up early for work, you're barely getting any sleep at all and you got bags under your eyes, like under here. And it's very difficult to stay focused. It's very difficult to concentrate. You're working at a very slow pace and it becomes repetitive. And it continues like this. You end up being very dependent on caffeine and you drink it every single day because you're not getting enough sleep at night. So you rely heavily on caffeinated beverages like Red Bull and coffee. And your brain just ends up feeling foggy. Like if you don't have any caffeine at all, your brain ends up feeling very foggy and it's very hard to process things because you didn't get the good night's sleep that you were supposed to have. You're supposed to get a good night's sleep. It's okay to drink caffeinated beverages if you get a good night's sleep first. Otherwise, you're just heavily reliant on the caffeinated beverages. That develops a whole new problem for you. And it happens over and over again. Even on the days that you have off, you're sleeping into about midday or even 1 o'clock because you stayed up all night on your phone or watching TV or anything like that. Yeah, it just becomes a bad habit. It becomes a bad habit, and it's a bad habit. It's a habit that's hard to break because it's like continues to happen. It continues to happen because when you don't get enough sleep the night before, obviously you're going to sleep in, or you're going to be wake up scattered, and then you won't go to bed early the next night, and it just keeps happening over and over again. And it's very hard to break that cycle because you'd have to either sacrifice sleep the night before and not have any caffeine the next day so you can attempt to get a good night's sleep the next night, or you have to find some way to get a good night's sleep and actually feel tired by 9 o'clock. And that's something that's very hard to do, especially if you're in the pattern of going to sleep at 2 o'clock every morning pretty much. It also has a significant impact on your mood. You don't feel good the next day at all. Everything feels very grey. As I said before, it feels very foggy. It's not a fun mood to be in. You don't see the little things. You start to just get very moody and it really depresses you. It puts you in just a very bad mood. The sleep cycle is a lot more important than we give it credit for. A lot of people think that sacrificing sleep is good. You should sacrifice sleep in order to get more work done. You should sacrifice sleep in order to do this, that, and the other thing. You shouldn't really sacrifice sleep. You should always try and get as much sleep as you can. 8 hours is important to get. But a lot of people do sacrifice sleep because they feel like that it's a burden on the amount of time they have throughout the day. But that's actually not true. It's more, you got to start seeing sleep as an asset instead of something that gets in the way. And if you go to bed early, yeah, sure, it's okay to have a coffee the next morning, but if you go to bed early, you'll feel a lot more refreshed when you do wake up. You won't wake up feeling tired because you're not supposed to wake up feeling tired. You're supposed to wake up feeling refreshed and ready for the day. That's why a lot of people abuse caffeinated beverages every single day. Yeah, you're supposed to feel refreshed the next morning. When you feel refreshed the next morning, you should have that natural amount of energy to be able to get through the day. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with drinking coffee. There's nothing wrong with it. If you like drinking coffee, that's fine. But you got to still make sure that you're getting the right amount of sleep before you do that, and not rely too heavily on coffee or any caffeinated beverage like energy drinks or anything like that. Otherwise, that just causes a whole nother problem for you. You feel more meaning throughout the day. You feel like the little things stand out to you a lot more because you've got a lot more awareness. You're a lot more aware throughout the day, and that tends to lighten your mood up a little bit more. So in order to break the bad habit of having a very poor sleep schedule, if you're not into supplements or anything like that, I understand, but I would strongly just recommend doing a light activity or doing light unwinding activities. maybe read a book until you start to get sleepy, because reading a book, like especially like an educational book where your mind starts to work a little bit, until you get tired, like read a few pages of a book so you can restore that information the next day. Because reading a book is very good for sleep, especially before bed. That's why a lot of people do read before bed, because it is an unwinding activity. I would also recommend this doesn't work for a lot of people, but putting on some soft music while you're trying to go to sleep. Jazz music always seems to work for me. I always end up falling asleep immediately after I put jazz music on. I don't know why, but it just seems to work. But some people don't like jazz. Some people prefer different kind of soft music, binaural beats or anything like that, or just lo-fi music. That's fine too. Just anything that works for you. I strongly recommend putting on some soft music, or if you prefer silence, whatever, it can really help. So yeah, I'd recommend setting an early bedtime. Not too early to the point where you can't just unwind, but set an early bedtime, maybe like 9:30, 10, something that's like medium, not too late either, not anything really past 12, or anything that's earlier than what you're currently falling asleep at now. I'll just say try and set a time a few hours before the time you usually go to bed, and really aim for that, and really try to unwind a couple of hours before that set time that you've set, by doing the things I said, like reading or putting on some nice music. Especially if you're reading like an educational book, like I said before. Educational books, your brain is also working a little bit and processing the information at the same time. So that's also very good. Just try and read some educational books before you're going to sleep, or self-help books or anything like that. Try and read some of them before you go to sleep. The better your sleep patterns get, the better your energy the next day will get. You'll feel more energized naturally without caffeine, and you'll feel a lot more fulfilled in the day. The day will feel a lot more, you can get a lot more done throughout the day. You'll just be in an overall better mood, because sleeping affects a lot of the stuff that you do daily. It's not just a matter of being tired, it's a matter of your mood, it's a matter of your health in general. Your body needs sleep in order to recover. Not only are you going to be tired, but your whole body is just not going to regenerate itself from the previous day. Sleep is a lot more important, and this is very understated than it actually should be. But yes, just try and set yourself a earlier bedtime than usual, maybe a few hours earlier. Do an unwinding activity like reading, or anything that just winds you down, that sort of gets you naturally tired. And if music works for you, something like jazz or something like lo-fi, give that a go as well, and let us know how it goes. So thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe.